at a place where we want to be at.
Good.
It's just a very difficult place to play, everybody,
We love it. We love it. I thought, when we came and played our first game here, I thought we played well then. We just didn't execute down the stretch, and I think it's time for us to go out and do some things. The last time we've played Green Bay, both times we haven't had our full unit, and now I think we're getting close to that, and that helps us a little bit.
Anton, you want to talk a little bit about your sophomore class? You guys, relatively young, so what's this like, kind of getting your first real tournament experience for all you guys?
It's a big step of where we want to go as far as leaving a legacy at Cleveland State as far as our sophomore class, because we get a lot of floor experience right now. So as far as next year, we won't be as young. We will have some you could say some big games under our belt. So when we step on the floor, we'll be able to execute in key games down the stretch because we have that experience.
For you, Coach, that youth is a little bit different in the tournament. How does that work for you in terms of making sure your guys are ready? Do you rely on your seniors, or is it this group pretty mature at this point?
Yeah, well, when you say rely on your seniors, we only got a few of them, so we got to look back at our younger guys. And what we're going to rely on. Our early games were really good games, and literally, if we would have had success maybe in about 4 of them, I felt we would be in position for an at-large bid. We played at Kentucky, we played at Drexel, we played 6 teams that are the number 1 teams in their league. We had probably only had one team that wasn't in the top of their league. So I think all that is preparing you for this moment right now. And, in the early going, we lost those games. We lost the close ones. All those things happened. And now, if you notice, what do we won? 10 out of 11, 11 out of 12. That's because they're starting to understand those games and play through those games.
When you want to talk about the 2 teams you could face tomorrow night, what are the differences as you watch the film between Wright State and Oakland?
Well, Wright State, obviously is a very good defensive team, and they come after you physically, and you have to offset that. So when you play Wright State, you got to score. I mean, if you don't score, we've played them twice. We're 1-1. They won on our court, and we won on theirs. And the one we won, we scored. The one we lost, we did not score. The game was, I think, 49-46. And we didn't score that day. So you got to score against them. They're going to force you to score. Whereas when you're playing Oakland, they want you to score so they can score. I mean, they want to score points. And you got to find a way to not let Bader go off on you. And Petros inside to score is easy to the basket. I think they're the most potent offensive team in our league. If everybody's all on the same page, if you want to call it that. If they're all flowing at the same time, you have a hard time. That's what I think Youngstown had a problem with. They were all flowing at one time, and what helped Youngstown in that last game, in my estimation, is Petros fouled out with, I think it was 5 minutes to go, and Youngstown was up 7 at the time. And I thought, Youngstown was up 7, but Petros had fouled out, so it was theirs for the taking. And then, some of those miraculous things happen and strange things happen in a game, and Oakland ended up winning that game. I think they're the dangerous team going into tournament play.
And you talk about Oakland's offense. Your offense might be the best it's been since you've gotten to Cleveland State. You want to talk a little bit just about the evolution of this team compared to some of your previous teams?
Well, we've always ran good offense. You just got to have good guys that can shoot the ball, put it in the hole. And, we have better offensive players. You know what the hard part of this has been? Teaching these offensive players to understand that we're about defense, because they want that offense as much as possible. And but you know what? They're starting to understand the execution part of it. And once you get to that point, now things can flow for you. Anton, I think, is the key to us because his presence inside. Our guys going to shoot the ball on the outside because that's who they are. But at the same token, if there's nobody inside, they can press up on those guys, and now it's harder to shoot. But with Anton, he makes them play honest for 2 reasons. One, he can score at the block. He can shoot the 15-footer, and he's an excellent passer. So when you get all 3 of those things going at once, I try to get it in a game every once in a while. We're pretty good out there on the floor.
Yeah, Anton, you want to talk a little bit about that too? How nice is it to have Bryn and Trey and Charlie out on the perimeter? How much does that open things up for you?
It makes it much easier because it makes people play you honest, and then when they double down, coach does a great job in practice of working with me how to pass out the double team. So I'm getting I'm prepared for the double team when they throw it at me, and it just makes me better as a player because it makes me more selfless, and I feel better when other people score, when my teammates are going more because I have that much confidence in what I can do.
And what kind of challenges will Wright State and Oakland present to you in terms of matching up against a Corey Petros or an AJ Packer?
Well, you guys made the selection, so that's my comment on that. So when we go out there, the selection will show. I will play to the selection. I wouldn't play to the selection.
So Gary, you see Green Bay as the number 1 seed. Okay, do you see them as a distinct favorite, heavy favorite, or no favorite at all here?
Well, I think they're favored because they got to feel more confident at home and in their confines. And they've played well. I mean, they've played well. They've faced challenges and withstood those challenges. So they're coming in pretty confident. What they got to be concerned is about being overconfident. That they feel that it's because it's at home. They can go through it. And I don't mean on our side of the ledger. I mean on their own side, because I think it's a couple of teams who will go in there with the will to win. And then if they're shooting it well, it becomes a problem. The thing that I think that they do extremely well is they attack that glass, that offensive rebound, and you got to keep them off the glass. You got to do that, and you got to understand who puts the ball in the hole, and you got to take that away from them.
Coach, you brought up Wright State. Now you have each beat each other on the road. Would you like another shot at that now that you're both not on your home floor?
Not really. No, just kidding. Well, you know what? They're a hard team to play for us. I mean, and I would think they would say the same about us. I mean, for us, we're at a stage in our program right now. It doesn't matter. We got to go through somebody to get what we're trying to accomplish, and we're committed to doing that. They've been committed to it all year. It's been some bumps in the road. They had to learn from them, and you know what? I think they're ready to learn from this. Our team is pretty different because we lost 4 games, and of the 4 games, 3 of them we played without our full unit. Okay, and that's okay. You should be able to do that, but if it's happening the night before, you got problems with that. Like we played Green Bay and we didn't have our leading scorer. So what you had to do is take the 16 points out of the lineup. And then we lost to Wright State, and we didn't have Anton and Sebastian Douglas in that game. So, so our guys feel if they're all together and they're healthy, they got a chance. And the reason why I say that, I'm a believer in what I call the 3 H's. 3 H's. When you go into tournament play, you got to be hot, you got to be hungry, and you got to be healthy. And if you have those 3 things going for you, you got a chance to do very well in tournament play. Now, when I look at that, I look at Green Bay, they have all 3 right now. Now, the only thing I don't know is, how hungry they are. They may think it's, they already got it, so locked up. I know Wright State is all 3, and they're banking on this to happen. So we gotta bring the same energy and the same compassion like they're bringing to have an opportunity in this tournament.
Do you have any health problems right now?
Well, we have Sebastian down still, and we're hoping that we can have him for the game or at least a few moments in the game. But let me tell you about having people down. What happens? It's not having people down. You're supposed to play without people. It's when it happens. If it happens immediately and you don't have time to prepare for it, then it's a tough thing for you, and it's a tough thing for your team. But if you've had time to prepare for it, now you put other people in their place and you respond to it. 2 of the games we didn't have time for that to happen, and I thought that hurt us. I can give you an example of that when we went to the NCAA and we beat Butler that year. Our 3rd best player, DeAndre Brown, went down in the first game of the tournament against Detroit. And everyone thought it was over with, but we did not because we had lost DeAndre way back in December for a month. Okay, so our guys had to learn how to play without DeAndre. And when I'm saying our guys, they were freshmen. About two guards were freshmen had to come in there and play. I think we've played without Sebastian enough. Okay, now it's time for us to play.
Anything else?
I'm
Thanks,
good.
Coach.
You're, 09, you won the tournament at Butler, right? Yeah. Is this team maybe as good as that one?
It's hard to, well, see, that team was all veterans. You know, we had 6 seniors in that group. We had 2, the junior is a pro now, and that's Norris Cole. I mean, that was a pretty good team. This team is got more depth than that team, and they're a better offensive team than that team. That team could lock you down on the defensive end. So it's, when I look at it, it's a flip of a coin in my estimation.
All right. We'll let you guys go, and
Okay.
best of luck tomorrow.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.